What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Welcome to another installment of Micro Brand Monday. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a Nove. Now, we've reviewed a Nove watch in the past. It was this really funky kind of out there quartz watch, had a really interesting crown setting and function, actually on the case back. And then I believe it had like wooden inlays. So the watch was super duper out there. And today we're actually taking a look at one of their mechanical offerings, their Trident automatic. How many, dive watches in the watch world are going to be named Trident? I don't know, but here's another one. It is 5 p.m. on the button. Let's get down to business. All right, guys, so here in front of us today is the Nove Trident. And the first thing you'll notice is kind of that crazy mother of pearl dial. We're obviously going to get a bunch of close-ups for you as I'm, blathering on here. But yeah, so mother of pearl dial, but there's also another thing that really stood out to me the second I even saw the media photos. And that would be the exposed spring retention on the bezel. Now, we're going to talk about that when we get into the pros and cons. You might already know kind of how I feel about that. So regardless of what I want to talk about, when you go to Nove's website, they want to harp over and over on the fact that this is the slimmest dive watch ever. Now, I don't know if this is technically the slimmest dive watch ever, measuring at 13.05 millimeters thick. It's a little bit kind of misleading, okay? So 13.05 doesn't really sound all that thin. For reference, my baby tuna is actually 13.3 millimeters. So that's consistent like throughout the watch. This watch looks super duper thin towards the each end, right? So on each edge of the case, it is 7.4. Wait. Actually, I think it's even thinner. One second. Holy cow, right here, it's 6.5 millimeters thin. So yes, when you look just at the edge, like from the bezel and the crown guards, and then from this side of the case in the bezel, it can get into the 6 millimeter range, which is crazy. But then you look at the case back and then the crystal, and it kind of bubbles in the middle. Dare I say this is a bubble back? I'm just kidding. But it does get substantially thicker in the center of the watch, and that's where they're taking that 13.05 millimeter measurement, of course, because you're going to measure it at the thickest point. So yeah, it looks thin on the edge. In the middle, it's kind of nothing special, in my opinion. Now, if it were up to me, I would have really harped on the fact that this is probably one of the nicer mother of pearl dials that I've seen on a watch. I'm not a huge fan of like meteorite dials or mother of pearl dials. I'm a simple man, but we'll stay away from my opinions. We'll leave that for the pros and cons. Let's look over the spec sheet. This watch is powered by a Swiss Ronda R150 automatic movement with a date complication over by the 3 o'clock. That movement is about a 40-hour power reserve. This is, I guess, you know what? They didn't tell me what the coating is or the plating is on this watch. We'll put it up here somewhere on screen if I can find it. If I can't find it, we'll just do a funny noise. You know what? We'll put a funny noise anyway. And then we can all laugh. 316L stainless steel though, and of course this does have some form of coating on it. Now this mother of pearl dial is Tahitian mother of pearl. Again, actually one of the nicer mother of pearl dials I've seen on a watch. You're getting a double domed sapphire crystal. Very nice distortion there. 200 meter water resistance rating. This measures in at 46 by 48.8 millimeters and 13.05 millimeters thin. All over their website, they want to talk about that. Now, one more little observation before we get into the pros and cons. When I pulled this out of the box, okay, and I looked at that kind of exposed spring retention, we'll kind of look past that for a moment, but I looked at the bezel and something about the crown and the crown guards and the handset and the indexes, it just kind of gave me like 90s sports watch design. I take that as you will. I don't know, like the 90s weren't known for making gems, let's just put it that way. But with those exposed springs, you are getting something different, and you know, it definitely isn't something you see every day, especially not on dive watches, which brings us to the pros and cons. Now I'm going to take off my trusty Timex Iron Man. And that's right, you heard a Velcro strap. I freaking love this watch, man. Super duper convenient. Let's go ahead and put this Nove Trident on. It has a butterfly clasp, and it kind of gets stuck, I've noticed. I don't know if it's because it's like a brand new watch, but even if it is brand new, it shouldn't be like stuck. Really gotta kind of wiggle one way out of it. Anyway, let's put it on the wrist. Starting off with the pros. First pro, if I can get you in focus here, on the wrist, not cumbersome at all. The next thing I like about this watch are the crystals, okay? So the double dome sapphire has some subtle distortion, not a ton, but then the case back, that's what I really love. The display case back, they actually did a very nice job, and it truly does look kind of like a bubble, looks almost like a porthole. Kind of nautical, right? This is a dive watch. I dig it. And with so many dive watches not having display case backs, I do dig it. And the final true pro I want to give this watch is that, I kind of mentioned this already, I'm not a huge fan of mother of pearl dials, but this truly is one of the best mother of pearl dials I've seen, and it's actually very nice. And you know, each mother of pearl dial, you're going to, I mean, it's an organic material, right? So it's going to be different each time. Nature has made it. But all beautiful poetry aside, you know, each dial is going to look a bit different, but this one has very nice coloration with this kind of very tasteful sweep of kind of darker tones of green in the middle going through the spindle. I really dig it. Nice job. But with the good comes the bad, which brings us to the cons. First con. Although I did say I enjoyed the case back, you know, that display case back, very nicely done. However, this is a screw down case back and not a screw in case back. What's the difference? Well, a screw in case back is where the whole case back is actually threaded into the case, whereas this is a screw down case back where we can see 4 screws kind of secure that case back onto the case. I don't like to see that because it's not as sturdy of a seal when we're looking for, you know, water resistance. Now, is that to say that this is, you know, going to absolutely leak like a sieve? No, that's not what I'm saying. I would prefer a threaded in case back. Now, what I will say is the little screws don't seem to be super mangled, and you know, there's some very big watchmakers that can't seem to finish screw heads for the life of them. So to see Nove do it properly, you know, good job. I may have spoken too soon. Seems like there's 1 out of the 4 screw heads that seem to be marred up a little bit. So 1 out of 4, is that a passing grade? Do we give it a passing grade? I don't know. Next con, we got to talk about the bezel, right? Bezel is super duper aggressive. Now it's functional as far as using it as a timing instrument. Would I trust this to time my pizza rolls? Yes. Go ahead, give it the seal of approval. This could be used as a timing instrument. It's not going to back out on you, excuse me. And you could reasonably use this to time something like pizza rolls in the oven. However, when we look at high-end watchmaking, one of the metrics we use are the tolerances with which the watch is produced, right? Fit and finish. Those tolerances are the fitment. And you don't like to see, you know, big spaces or uneven spaces, excuse me, within, you know, the end links to the case or within the links of the bracelet, so on and so forth. Oh, I can't speak today. So on and so forth, excuse me. Seems like all this kind of exposed space here on the inside of the bezel, you guys are seeing a close-up shot right now. Although, yeah, it does kind of show off that really cool spring retention. Ooh, you don't get to see this on other watches, but on our watch, we're going to show it off. Yeah, it looks funky and different, out there maybe. But if this is a dive watch, you know how much crud is going to get in there? You're not just going to get little pieces of sand, because the little stuff's going to go into every bezel that you put in the water, right? You're going to be getting like the larger pieces of sand. Like the little rocks are going to get up in there, and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun at all. So not only does it seem less functional as an actual dive watch, that kind of few millimeters of space there, exposed space, it kind of looks like there's a part missing on your watch. It looks like there should be another inlay that just isn't there. So it's just, to my eyes, I don't like it. That exposed space makes it look like the tolerances are out of whack. Another thing is that with that really kind of wide bezel, it pushes the crown and the crown guards out even further. So it makes it look like the crown is like a solar system away from the actual watch. I just don't like that either. And the final con of this watch is that this utilizes an integrated bracelet. Now, trying to see something here. Yep, so it's not spring bars, it's screws with this integrated bracelet. And I know some people really love integrated bracelets, and it's true that when there is an integrated design, it just makes for a sleeker, more seamless transition from the case to the bracelet or from the case to the strap. However, when it comes to integrated systems, you're at the mercy of whatever that watchmaker chooses to produce, right? You're going to need a proprietary strap or bracelet, or you're going to have to spend the extra money to get something custom made for your watch. So I'm not the biggest fan, typically, of integrated strap or bracelet systems, but, you know, different strokes for different folks. I wouldn't turn down a Vacheron Overseas, okay? If Vacheron is listening, I'll take one of those. I'll be happy with the integrated bracelet. The rose gold. I want the rose gold with a blue dial. Now, one thing to mention about the bracelet is all the links, super duper mobile, not at all a hair puller. I do have a kind of complaint about butterfly straps or butterfly clasps. What is with me today? Guys, I'm such a silly goose today. It's just one side sticks worse than the other. But me personally, I'm not a fan of butterfly clasps. Yeah, see? You gotta really wiggle one of the sides out. The other side wants to come out, the other one doesn't. And a final note on the bracelet is they actually did I think that's like a laser printed, the time teller. So they put my name on it. Cool. So here's the conclusion, okay? If you're looking for a sub $1,000 diver with some really interesting out there design language, a display case back, decent movement, and date complication, then this could be something to consider. However, you gotta really, and I mean really, be in love with this kind of design language. It has to be your love language if you're gonna shell out this kind of money. Because guys, for $690, there's a whole lot of watches within that price range. Me personally, if I was gonna spend that money and I wanted, a sports watch with comparable specs, but kind of with a design language that I'm more fluent in, I would have chosen that Tusenu, right? That Tusenu shellback. That has really great specs, and it's more reasonable to look at, in my opinion. That's more something I would wear. If you want to see that review, click up here and check it out. We reviewed it last Microbrand Monday. But guys, I know for a fact there's some freaks out there, and maybe it's you. Maybe you're the freak. I'm kidding, guys. There's some people out there that are looking at this and drooling, and they absolutely love it, and that's perfectly fine. Different strokes for different folks. People look at the watches I wear all the time and think they're butt ugly. Why would you wear an Iron Man? Let's see, I have another digital watch. Why would you wear a data bank? Whatever, guys. Different opinions make the world go round. If we all like the same flavor, ice cream, then there'd be an ice cream shortage, right? Because all of us would want the same flavor ice cream. Coffee's my favorite. Coffee ice cream. All right, guys, and there you have it. Another Microbrand Monday in the books. What do you think of this watch? Is Nove crushing it, or is it just a little bit too out there for you? Leave me a comment and let me hear from you. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel and hanging out with us today. There's a whole bunch of reviews for you to watch, a whole bunch of playlists, so please check out the playlist section on my YouTube's homepage. There's full playlist dedicated to new watch collectors. There's a bunch of really educational stuff there. If you want some of the more goofy stuff, there's a bunch of T3 watch rants where I just go crazy and complain about things I dislike, and I go crazy for things I like. And there's a really cool playlist, Watch versus Watch, where I compare two watches and I pit them against one another. So check out those playlists. Check out all the affiliate links in the description below. Check out my personal website, thetimetellershop.com. And the easiest way to support us is just keep watching the content and doing what you're doing. All right, guys, I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. How do I? Oh, yeah. I just tell it.